Hey there, and welcome to Dan's Crochet Adventure. This is my first video, and in it I'm going to take you through how to make the skull of my Cubone. Now you can see I've done this one in my Chenille yarn, but you can also do this in your 8-ply or DK as well. We are going to be making the base of the skull first, and we'll do some detailing after that, but I will take you through step by step on how to get it all done. Now, if you are looking for the pattern for the rest of the Cubone, that will be on my Patreon when this video goes live for those members that subscribe, and I might do a video on actually completing the rest of the Cubone on there too. But without further ado, let's get cracking. So tools and materials we'll need to use for this one is obviously need our crochet hook with whatever yarn we're using. I'm using DK yarn today, or the 8-ply, and so I'm using my 3.5mm crochet hook. Something to cut the yarn with, I just use this little kind of like not needle pricker, the thread picker. And then your coloured yarn as well. So you'll need your base skull colour, whichever one that you want. I know it's normally grey, but I've just got this yarn in excess, and black yarn for the nostrils is what you'll need. So we need to make our nostrils, which you do in your black colour, okay? And you're following just up here, this little pattern here. It's magic ring 6, and then you're going to increase and slip stitch. I've already made 2 here, okay, in my black, but I have also made them in white too, just so I can show you attaching these, and once I've attached them, I'll cut to changing to the black. So the next thing to do is to do our skull, okay, and we are going to do that by doing our magical ring 6, which basically means we're going to do 6 single crochets in our magic ring. Now, everyone does their magical ring different, doesn't matter how you do it, but what I probably would recommend doing is whatever tail you get at the end, just start hiding it into your piece, just in case you want the actual skull to be a removable skull at the end. So once we have our magical ring, we're just going to do an increase in each of these single crochets. So it will give us 12 in our round. Okay. Once we've done our 6 increases, we are then going to chain and turn. Now, I'd be quite comfortable cutting off the rest of this, not hiding it in the piece. Okay, just be careful you don't accidentally cut your So the next round, after we've done our 6 increases, is to do a chain and turn. Now, just so you're aware that my turns, you always start in the second loop from the actual hook, which is important a little later on. Once we've done that, we are then going to do an increase, which I did not do, but we're going to do an increase. Then we're going to do 7 single crochets, and then another increase. So once we've done our 3rd round, we're going to chain and turn again and just do 1 single crochet, and then we're going to actually start attaching our nostril. Now here is my slip stitch, right, just right here. So I'm going to go through this single crochet on my skull, and then the single crochet that slip stitch went through as well, that loop that single slip stitch went through. I'm going to do my single crochet there, and then I'm going to start making my way around the actual nostril with increases in the back loop. So 6 back loop increases, and again trying to tie in or hide our tails. So once we've done that, we then want to come back to our main piece with another single crochet, and this one is going again into the same one we did before. You can either just do a single crochet through this one, or you can also loop in the nostril as well. I find it can be a little bit tricky to loop in the nostril, so I just do the 1 single crochet in there. We're then going to do 7 single crochets to go back along our nostril. And then we're basically going to do the exact same thing, right, with our other nostril. Find where the slip stitch is. We're going to go through that one, through the slip stitch, or at least through the stitch the slip stitch went through. And now we're going to go through back loop increases around our nostril, making sure we get the right side. then again, we've done our 6 increases along here. We're just going to go through that stitch we used to attach, and then we're going to finish off the round by doing a single crochet in that end stitch, and then essentially our I guess our thing should just look like this. Okay, so I am going to, now that I've got them and I've shown you how to do that, I'm just going to change these to the black ones. So this is what it'll look like for you. This is the bottom, and we'll be working basically around here next, bringing it in like so. You will need the other end of your of your main color yarn. You'll need to use both ends. You can cut and reattach, but I recommend just making sure you have the next end handy. So after we have done the round 4, this is kind of like the initial round to kind of start pulling this together. So we're going to chain turn and then do our back loop 3 together. Now these back loop 3 together is only just because we're technically working on the back side, right? This is our front. So we want to make sure that when we're doing our decreases that we are pulling the loops from this side here, okay? This is the side we'll see. If for whatever reason you struggle doing your back loop 3 togethers, it is not the end of the world, right? Just do your regular 3 togethers using the front loops. But as you just saw, my back loop 3 together essentially is you grab the 3 loops of the next 3 stitches, right, like so, and we're going to yarn over and pull through them 3, and then yarn over and pull through 2, and that's our 3 together. I'm then going to do 10 single crochets to get to my other side. And again, we're doing our back loop 3 together to tie in this corner here. These can be a little bit tricky to do, these ones. But just take it slow. And once we've done that one, we're then going to do our 5 single crochets to get to the other side. Another back loop 3 together. Then we're going to do 8 single crochets. And then once you have done that one, we're then going to do slip stitches, okay? 2 of them. There is a reason for this, and then we're going to do our back loop 3 together to finish off this particular round. Okay, give yourself a lot of slack, okay, or if you can't get the other end, this will be where you'll be cutting off so you can reattach, because now we're going to be working up this section here. So I have my other end here, okay, and this is what will be our 5A, because we're kind of filling in rounds here. So I will usually just attach it to my hook, like so, like when you're doing your chain. And then we're going to do 5 single crochets, and this is going to be in the starting from your 3 together that you did essentially in the round before. Okay, so we're going to attach here, do our 5 single crochets to get to the other side. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, we can see our corner here that we're going to do our 3 together. Now this one is a 3 together because this is the front of our piece, that's the back, okay? And so we're going to grab the front loops for this 3 together. Okay, and then we're going to finish off this row with a slip stitch. If I can do the slip stitch correctly. Like so, okay? We're then going to work back this way by turning. We're not chaining, we're just turning, okay? I'm going to do 4 single crochets. So again, this is what I said, when I turn, I'm going to start from the second from the loop. So I'm not going into this one here, I'm going into this one here, okay? And do my 4 single crochets to get to my other side. 3. Slower, okay. And this kind of 3 together, it is a back loop. It's supposed to be a back loop 3 together. We're going to be looping this one here, so them two, and we're going to be looping this kind of next one, right? That was the stitch after the 3 together, just like so. Okay, and then we're going to do a slip stitch and turn, right? And then we're going to do our 4 single crochets, 1, 2, 3, slower, and then we're just going to slip stitch here. Okay, and that essentially is the work we need to do to kind of curve this out, and now we're going to start working this way. Okay, so what we can do is we can cut this end like so, and then we can get rid of that end, and we shouldn't need that end anymore. So now we're going to go back to our original kind of side here, and then we're going to turn and we're going to do spike stitches. Now your spike stitch essentially is where you go into the you can see I've got 2 slip stitches right here, so instead of actually going through, say, that single crochet like that, the spike stitch we're going to do go this crochet below that one, okay, or the row around below that one, and we're going to do 2 of them, okay, like so. Right, and now that we've done that, we're going to do a single crochet into my next stitch, which should be this one here, and then we're going to do 4 increases. So this this 3 together that is underlined is essentially like a kind of like a decrease, but we're still using the same motions as a 3 together. We're going to loop up the next round, which is an actual stitch, okay? This is actually, section here is part of the previous round. You can either loop up, basically loop up anything from that previous round, okay? And then grab the actual next stitch that you need to. So you can see we've got 3 here, right, on our loop, but it's just one of them is from our previous round. And then I'm going to do my 3 together like so. And it just makes this kind of seam a lot nicer than if we was to just do a straight decrease, okay? Once I've done that one, I'm then going to do, sorry, let me just get my, I'm then going to do an increase into the next stitch. And then I'm going to do a single crochet into that stitch, and then another increase into the next stitch. And then going to do another one of them 3 togethers. Okay, you can see that here is my slip stitch that I did from the round before. I can see this little loop here, which I can just slip over. And then looking back, here is essentially my next round, or my next loop in the stitch. So I'm going to grab that one. And so pull through the 3, yarn over, and pull through that one. So after my 3 together, I'm just going to do 2 increases. And then I'm just going to do a single crochet, and that'll be the end of my round. I'm actually not going to continue down this way, okay? What I'm then going to do is going to turn, okay, my work, and make my way back this way. 17 single crochets. See, again, I'm not continuing all the way, I'm stopping a certain place, okay? So once I have done that, I'm actually going to turn my work again and go back to the other side. This time it's going to be 16 single crochets. So you can kind of see that now it's getting basically a snout shape, right? Quite nicely, we've got that snout shape, okay? So once we've done that, we're then going to start getting the base for our eyes all set. We're going to chain and turn. We're going to increase into this first stitch here. Then going to do 2 single crochets. Then we're going to do a chain of 20. Okay. Once we have our chain of 20, we're then going to do 10 single crochets. We're just going to start in the next stitch. We're not going to go back into that one where we started our chain from. So the next stitch along. 1. Okay. You can see that we are on to the other side. We're going to do our next chain of 20. Okay, and then continue on. And we're going to do our 2 single crochets. And then finish off with an increase. Okay. And then we're going to chain and turn again. We're going to start with an increase. And then we're essentially going to do a single crochet in all of the next ones until we get to the other side. So here is where I am just about to actually start going onto my chains. It doesn't matter which way you do it, but just make sure you're consistent, right? And you're not twisting this over as you're going around. I usually like to go into the front loops that I can see. I'll just loop them ones up and then make my way forward. The first one is usually always the hardest, but you can go through whichever one you would like. Okay. I've gotten to the end of my first eye loop, and then I'm just going to continue, right? Until I get to the end. And then once you have finished, we're going to finish the round with a increase. So if you actually go and count all of these, you should get a total of 16. So once you have done that, and this is round 10, we're actually going to start working our way up the different sides. We're going to start working up here on the right hand side of the skull. Then we're going to do the middle and then finish off doing the left hand side over here. So we will be cutting and reattaching at each of these different ones once we've finished each of the different sections. So yeah, so first off we're going to chain and turn, and then we are going to do a decrease. Could we have just turned decreases? Yes, but I think there was a reason I did it. Now again, I haven't put here, but this is going to be my back loop decrease, right? Just so I can actually keep it looking nice. If you do the invisible decreases, otherwise just a regular decrease is fine. Single crochet, and then we're going to do a 3 together. This is just a regular 3 together, and this is a back loop 1, right? And then we're going to slip stitch, and then we're going to repeat the next section where we're going to turn. We're going to decrease, right? So we're going to start here in the second loop from the hook, and we're going to decrease. Decrease, then single crochet. We're going to chain, turn, increase in this. Then this is one of them special 3 togethers. Again, we're going to do it in the back loop. There's my first hook. My second hook is this kind of little loop that I can see joins the 2. If I can get it. 1, 2, and then my next one is going to be the next stitch in line, like so. Then I'm going to slip stitch, and then I'm going to do again that another time. Turn, decrease, single crochet, chain, turn, increase, the special 3 together, so 1, loop. Sometimes I found making that loop a little bit bigger can sometimes help. 1, 2, and then the next one in the line, then slip stitch. That's the end of our bracketed section. So then we're going to turn, we're going to decrease, we're going to single crochet into the last stitch here, then we're going to chain, turn, and we're going to do 2 single crochets, and then this underlined single crochet is because we're actually going to go into this one here where essentially our slip stitch was. We're going to go into that one there, and then the next stitch in line like so, and then we're going to finish off the round if you want with a slip stitch, and then we're going to cut that end off. And that is our right side of the actual skull done. Okay. The next one is we're working up the center bit here. Okay, so we're going to reattach, and I reattach on the right hand side. Okay, doesn't really matter much, but I will attach on the right hand side over here. I will attach into the single crochet that is on the actual skull. This one here is on the I guess the eye section, right? Okay, and then I am going to do a 3 together. This one is taking the next 3 stitches up like so, and then I'm going to turn my piece, do a decrease, do 6 single crochets, and then this, I don't know why I put front loop, that's supposed to be a back loop. 3 together, so please ignore that, it is a back loop, and this is going to be one of them. We're doing this one, right, which was where we started. We're going to go back up, right, so it's not an underlined one because we are actually going through the next stitches. Okay, and then we're going to slip stitch, then turn, we're going to decrease our work again. Okay, and then do 5 single crochets, and we're at the point where we do one of our special 3 togethers, right, so this one, the loop, and then the next stitch in line, which for me is this one, which is right here. Okay, like so, then we're going to slip stitch again, turn, do a decrease, this will be a front loop decrease, back loop, 4 single crochets, one of our special 3 togethers, two, the next stitch in line, 3. I'm going to slip stitch, then turn, decrease again, we're going to single crochet, increase in this one, single crochet, and then we have a 3 together, again one of our special ones, so we can avoid getting holes. One, two, three, like so. We're gonna slip stitch. Turn. This one we're just going to do our 5 single crochets across. 2, 3, 4, 5, and then again finish off just with our special 3 together. And then we're going to slip stitch to finish off. And again, we're going to cut here. And then you can see that it's kind of, hide that little thing away, you can see it's kind of given us a nice triangle-ish shape. And so when we start putting in our crochets along here, that will help kind of rigid this area up and create like a nice skull-like shape, right, for us to work on. So now we're going to work on this side. The last kind of section just here is going to be very similar to working on the other side, right? It's just there might be a difference with back loop, 3 togethers and not. We're going to attach with a decrease. Now if you struggle attaching with a decrease, I generally recommend, say, slip stitching onto the side just here and then decreasing from there, just ignoring your actual initial attaching stitch. You can attach with a decrease, there's no reason why you can't. Just make sure that you grab your tail end and start hiding it. Once you've done that, we're then going to single crochet and then do our 3 together. This is a regular one because we haven't done any of this on this side yet. Then we're going to slip stitch. And then again, we're going to do a sequence of working backwards and forwards to increase this. So we're going to turn, and this will be a back loop decrease, then single crochet into that decrease that we did at the start, chain, turn, increase. Our special 3 together, this is going to be a front loop 1, 1, 2, 3, slip stitch, turn, decrease, single crochet, chain, turn, increase, special 3 together, 1, 2, 3, slip stitch. So now that we've done that, we're going to turn and decrease. Do a single crochet, chain, turn, and then finish off by doing 2 single crochets, then 1 in the space here, so not that loop but this little space right here that we slip stitched into in the a couple of ones ago, and then single crochet into that one, and then finish off with a slip stitch. So that essentially is all of the kind of most of the skull done. So essentially all we're doing now is working at the back and then bringing it together. We're going to attach to the left side of the skull, okay, with just a single crochet. we're going to do our 10 single crochets. Here is the slip stitch. I usually like to go into the stitch below the slip stitch, but you can go into the slip stitch, up to you. But that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. So this increase that we are going to do will be exactly where your slip stitch from the previous one is done. I put an increase here because this time we're actually going, I usually go through the one from the previous row and then I'll go through the actual slip stitch. Right, and do it that way. It's technically an increase. You can do them in both, like either or, up to you. I'm going to do our 6 single crochets. Then you'll see the kind of the loop again that we do our usually our special 3 together in. We're going to go through that one, right, as one, and then we're going to finish off doing our single crochets, and then if you count them now, you should have 30. Right, and you can see our skull shape is appearing nicely. If we get our, I guess our thingy, I can put him over, and I can see, if I do a bit of positioning right, I can see it's fitting quite nicely. So the next 2 rounds, we're just going to be doing a chain and turn and working backwards and forwards. I'm just going to fast forward to the next round, but you guys can pause it just so you can catch up. So there is end of round 12 done, and there is the end of round 13. Okay, and you can see it kind of is starting to bring the skull into that shape, right? So round 14, we're going to chain and turn, and this is where we're going to start bringing it in. Please don't mind my dogs in the background if you do hear them. So we've done our 12 single crochets. We're then going to do our 2, oh sorry, not 2, our 3 decreases. And then we're going to do 12 single crochets to get back to the other side. We're then going to chain and turn and just do single crochet all the way to the other side, so that'll be 27 single crochets. Okay, so once we've done that, we're going to chain and turn, and this time we're going to do 9 single crochets. And then we're going to do 3 3-togethers. Again, this is back loop, okay. And then we do our 9 single crochets to finish off the round. Then we're going to chain, turn, and do our single crochets to get back to the other side. So this will be 21 single crochets. So the next round, if you hadn't guessed, we're going to chain, turn, and we're going to do 6 single crochets, 3 3-togethers, 6 single crochets, as we slowly decrease the back bit. Going to chain, turn, and go back. This time 15 single crochets to get back to the other side. So we're going to chain and turn and do our, this time it's going to be 3 single crochets, going to do our 3 3-togethers, and then 3 single crochets. So, to kind of finish off the actual skull, we're just going to chain, turn, do 3 single crochets, then a 3 together. This is, I guess, the exception where we're actually going to do it in the front loop, then 3 single crochets, and we should be left essentially with this little kind of section just here, right, that's very small. So I realized on my initial recording that I took joining this together off screen accidentally, so I'm just going to show you what I do. Usually I just use my crochet hook, and I essentially go through this one and I just loop them together. So then progressively make my way up. When I get here, I'll just come up through like the middle to hook that one directly in the middle, down through the center. But once you've done that and you kind of pull it tight, relatively hard to seam quite well, and then you can just hide the seam on the inside. So if I was going to specifically, I guess, like crochet this onto the actual piece, I can see I've got a little bit of an end, or that out, that sticks past the end. Again, that was intentional, at least when I did this the first time. That was an intentional thing, because I wanted that little gap, right? I'm pretty sure in a lot of the artwork you see that gap. So once you have done this, we then need to actually add all of the detailing on. So we're going to attach to, I say, the tear duct corner, which essentially is this little corner here. Now I'm going to do the left side of the skull first. There is a slight variation depending on if you're doing the left or the right, okay? You can see on my piece is just right here. So that corner one just right there is where I'm going to attach to. And then essentially what we're going to do is we're going to go, I don't know if you can see where I'm going, but I'm going through each kind of layer, as you can see, and doing a single crochet through each of the different, like, single crochets around the eyes, okay? I haven't put a specific amount of what it is to go around the whole eye, just because I found every single time I did this, okay, I ended up getting a different number each time, and a lot of it was just due to when I was going around kind of like the corners, where there wasn't a clear kind of ease of how much I got. But you can see I've done single crochet around each of the eyes. And then what I'm going to do is, into my original one, I'm just going to slip stitch. And then this is where essentially my slip stitch and turn for the left hand side. This is what I'm going to do is, and then I'm going to start in the second one away from where I am, right? So this one here, and this is where I'm going to do my 10 crochets. So 1 that are in the instructions just up here. So 2. Okay, and then going to chain and turn. And go back the other way, my 10 single crochets. Okay, and then I'm going to chain and go back the other way, right? So I'm going to do that a couple of times. Probably could have short-handed that one. So once we have done that, we're then going to chain and turn, and we're going to do 6 single crochets so. Okay, we're then going to slip stitch, then turn, and then do a single crochet, and then we're going to chain twice, and then do 3 slip stitches. 1, 2, 3. Okay, and then we're going to do a single crochet, and then in this one we're going to do an increase through, which basically means I'm just going to do 3 single crochets into the same stitch, and that allows us to kind of get it around this corner. And then I'm actually going to start working my way down this section here, right? And so I'm going to do 4 single crochets down here. 1, 2, 3, 4. This usually got me back to, I guess, the rest of the skull. And then I'm just going to slip stitch there. Now I'm going to create a long tail, okay? Because this is where you actually need your threading needle. I'm sorry. You also need a threading needle. So a long tail. So if you had a threading needle handy, I currently have my dogs on me, so I'm just going to use my crochet hook. It's how I kind of practiced prior to getting a threading needle. It takes a little bit longer, but we're going to basically loop through each of the crochets, and then essentially just tie it down all the way down as we go to this side here. Okay. So, once you have got all the way around here, okay, you are going to make your way down here and kind of tie basically this this section here. So, once you have tied the bottom and kind of this section here, leave this section to bend out, okay? We don't want to tie that down, we want to let that kind of go. That's essentially it. We're going to replicate the same on the other side with one kind of caveat. We want to still be working in a clockwise motion, okay? We don't want to work anti-clockwise, but I'll get to the point. So single crochet around each side. Again, we're attaching at the tear duct just right here, okay? So you can see here, now I have done my single crochet around the right side, okay? We're not going to be slip stitching and turning for this side because we're going to be working obviously along here. So this time we're just going to slip stitch into that first stitch, right? And then just make our way forwards. So our 10 single crochets, just so you can see, I guess potentially tying this down might not be a necessary thing if you don't want to do it. Sometimes you might actually like the look of that. But just so you can see what it looks like, this down, that's untied, this is tied, right? Personally, I like this, but you know, everyone's different, right? Do whichever one you want, that you prefer. So I'm just going to tie it down and we'll move on to the next part. So with both of the sides tied down, you can see it's starting to come together, right? For that one, we're going to work on the nostrils part, okay? Next. So we are attaching to a similar place on the nostrils, okay? We want to make sure we're going around kind of like the black, but also we're going to be going into these like the main color as well. So I would attach just here, right? I'm just going to attach here with a single crochet, and then going to go into this one here with a slip stitch, and I'm going to do, I think, about 7 of these. So 1, and then I'm going to do, I think, about 6 or 7 single crochets. So, and I'm going to slip stitch into the front loop of my first one, and then I'm going to single crochet down the side of my piece. Okay, it's going to take me anywhere from 3 to 5 single crochets to get to the end. Single crochet extenders, you kind of need to be towards the end of your piece. You can see once I have kind of pulled through and got 2 hoops on my look, I'm going to hook up, pull through, but then grab the bottom so I create this little loop. I can pull it a little bit tight, I'm going to yarn over, and then I'm going to pull through them too. I've got this little hoop that I'm going to go back through to kind of keep extending. So I should have 5 for that one. I'm then going to come back to my actual piece and crochet basically just right next to where I left, and go back up the side of my piece. Like so. Create a little bit of a give, because we're going to tie these 2 together. So again, threading needle just makes things easy, but I learned doing this with a crochet hook. 2. So you can do it with a crochet hook. And we're essentially just going to tie these together on our way down. Usually when they're together, what I usually do is I'll poke this up through the middle. So I've created this little nub that goes out the side, right, of my piece. Here's my end that I can just cut away. Right, and then hide the other end in there. Depending on what you loop together will depend how thick this is, okay, and how you tie it together, but yeah, I'll leave it to you. I'm relatively happy with that one. So then we're going to do the same to basically this side, that here, and this time we're just going to actually go, again, because we're going clockwise around, it's going to be a little bit different. So let me just do the first part of your 7 single crochets and 7 slip stitches around the outside, and then I'll tell you what we need to do differently. So we have done our 7 single crochets, 7 slip stitches at the bottom. To kind of finish off, we are going to do our slip stitch into the kind of like the front row, and then do the same to the next one, and then down kind of like next to the actual kind of area, we're just going to slip stitch there and then turn our work and just start making our way down the, and then again we're doing our single crochet extenders, so 5 of them, then come back to our work, attach just next to where we left, give ourselves a bit of a thing, and then we're going to tie them together. This one, I'll just do the inside loops of that and tie them together just to show you a different thing. And then there we are with this side. And that's essentially your nose is done. To show you on the piece, you can see quite here, have a little bit of a gap. Again, that was intentional. When I was making this one, I wanted to have that little bit of a gap. This thing here is my first draft, so it's a little bit smaller when you're doing this one. Yeah, that is the last, or at least the nostrils done, right? Now we just need to do our little head crests here at the top. So, I usually start, again, I start with the left side here. And what I'll do is I can see here is my, kind of like my eyepiece that goes into this bit here. And looking at this one, you can see that I basically left one gap. So I'm actually going to insert into here. I'm going to find the place that I think they normally go, right? It's a judgment on your own half. For me, it's right here. They don't go into this kind of section of the actual thing. They kind of end here. So it's going to be a circle of 8 single crochets. So you're making a square, but when you actually do it in like on a piece like this, it turns it to a circle. Okay. So I'm going to go in here and I'm going to do 2 single crochets along the bottom. And then I'm going to go 2 single crochets down the piece. Two single crochets back. And then 2 single crochets to get back to my starting position. Okay, and you can see it doesn't actually form a square. If I start continuing around, it actually forms a circle. Let's just advance, sorry that. Right, and we're going to do essentially 2 of them. Once we've done that, we're going to do 2 rounds of just 8 crochet. Once we have done that, we want to actually help curve these kind of out towards the outside. So we do that by doing a decrease, usually I think around here, to kind of bring it in that direction. So the left and the right side are going to look slightly different, okay? So the left side, we're going to do our 2 single crochets, and then we're going to do a decrease, and then 4 single crochets, well, finish that round. Then the next round, again we're going to do our 2 single crochets, 1, 2, another decrease, and then 3 single crochets to finish this round. And then going to give ourselves enough thread for us to loop around there and pull through like a drawstring bag. Once I've looped that, I'll kind of go a little bit further down, grab it and pull through the center out the side, and then I'll just pull it in and pull it tight like a drawstring bag. I can then hide my ends. All done. I need to do the right side of the head. And we're basically following the similar instructions, just where we put our decrease changes slightly. So again, I'm going to start here, work around here, but our decreases will need to be here, okay? And there we have it. We have done our Cubone skull. The only thing left to decide is whether or not you're going to attach your actual skull to your head. If you're not, you need to make sure that you weave your ends in to make it a little bit more neater, otherwise they generally will get hidden when you attach it to your skull. I am looking at doing a pattern for the rest of the Cubone, and that one video will be coming shortly. But other than that, I'd appreciate your feedback, and I hope you enjoyed this pattern. Have an awesome day. Thanks.